Hi, boys and girls. Today is Monday, May 11th. Last week, we talked about main idea and supporting details. So this week, we're going to continue that discussion, but we're going to add another concept and strategy. The strategy we'd like to add is asking questions. Whenever you read a text, if you want to know what it's about, if you want to figure out what the supporting details are, if you want to understand it better, you should always ask questions. Now, not all questions are created equal. Some are better than others. And so today we're going to talk about what makes a great question. I'm going to share my screen with you here. So we're going to talk about different kinds of questions. My first question is a strong question. I have to decide, can I write or can I ask a strong question? A strong question are questions that I have to really use my brain and look deep. A lot of times I have to look in the text to find the answer. They're not questions I know the answer to right away. So strong questions are really great to ask. Some questions are easy peasy questions. They're questions that I can answer by looking at a picture or answer without any text. Some questions are thick questions, like a thick sandwich has more stuff in it. Some questions have more stuff to answer. A thick question is something, again, that I would really have to use my brain and I have to look deep in the text to find the answer. And maybe there's more than one answer. Maybe there's lots of answers to that question. So a nice thick question versus a thin question. Like a thin sandwich might only have one little slice of meat in it. A thin question would be easy to answer with a yes or no answer. So we need to be able to see the difference between these kind of questions. In today's writing activity, what I want you to do is get a piece of paper and do your heading. And then all you have to do is number it from 1 to 10. Let me show you mine. Here's mine. So I have my heading, Mrs. Fairborn, 5. Uh-oh, I have the wrong date. I did this last Friday. I wrote the day's date for Friday. I'm going to change that. Sorry for writing over. Maybe you can kind of see it. Okay. So today is the 11th. 5/11/2020. Good thing I found my mistake. And then I'm going to number my paper from 1 to 10. And I can make a little, we can skip a line in between each number. So today we're just going to decide if a question is a thick question, a thin question, a strong question, an easy peasy question. And sometimes they can be two of those together. So let's take a look at some questions and then we get to figure out what kind of question it is. The first question we're going to ask is, have you ever seen a shark? Have you ever seen a shark? If I could answer that with a yes or no, that would be very thin. It'd also be very easy, right? So I have never seen a shark, so I would say no. Very thin, right? So on number 1, you're going to write thin. T-H-I-N. I did write thin. I could also write, comma, easy. It was an easy peasy, thin question. I don't have to look in a book to find the answer. I just know that answer, but I have never seen a shark. So a thin, easy answer. Our next question says, what is a shark's diet like? Now, I don't know the answer to that one. Chances are, I know that they're carnivores, and I know that they probably eat other fish, but I could do more study about it. I could find out lots more answers, and maybe there's lots of things that sharks do eat. So I would call that a pretty thick question, wouldn't you? Because there's probably lots of different answers to that, and maybe different sharks have different diets. So let's write thick next to number 2. And I think we're just going to call it a thick question. It's not particularly strong because it doesn't make me think a lot, but it's a thick question. Thick questions help our brain to know more stuff. So that's why thick questions are good ones to figure out. Let's go to number 3. Where does a shark sleep? Again, I don't know the answer to that. It's not a yes or no, so that's a pretty good question. It's one that I'd have to look up in a text. I don't know if it's very thick, but it's a pretty strong question. So I'm going to write strong on that one, okay? So number 3, I wrote strong. Hope you can see that. I know it's kind of small. Okay, number 4. How many teeth does a shark have? Could I figure that out by looking at a picture? Maybe, if it was a really good picture, right? What do you think? Not too easy because I don't really know. So I would definitely have to look it up somewhere or look at a picture and count it up. It's a pretty strong, thin question, isn't it? Because there's probably not a lot of variations to the answer. So I'm going to put strong, and I'm going to write, oops, I messed up. I'm going to write thin. Okay, I'll show you what mine looks like. Okay, so number 4, I just wrote strong, thin question because there's probably not a lot of different answers to that one, but I would have to look it up. Number 5, what color is a shark's skin? What do you think? Could we figure out the answer by looking at a picture? Yeah, we could probably do that. That's probably a pretty easy question, isn't it? E-A-S-Y. So number 5, I just wrote easy. That's a pretty easy question. It's probably pretty thin too, but I can just write thin. Easy. There we go. Next question. What seas can a shark be found in? I don't know about you, but I don't know the answer to that. So I wouldn't call it an easy question. And there's lots of different sharks. There's lots of different kinds of sharks. And some of them might be found in one ocean, and some of them might be found in a different ocean. So is it a pretty thick question? Yeah. And it's a pretty strong question. A strong one is one we don't know the answer to probably, and we'd have to read about it. So on number 6, I'm going to write strong and thick. Okay, so that would be number 6, a strong and thick answer. On to number 7. Hope you're keeping up okay. Let's go ahead and go back out and look at the next question. What makes a shark want to attack? Wow, I bet somebody could write a whole book about that. I bet there's lots of different answers, right? So I'm thinking that's a pretty strong question, and I don't know the answer, except that I know that they do like the smell of blood, don't they? And they're carnivores, so if they find food, they probably will attack. Let's go ahead and say that's a strong question. I don't know how thick it is, but let's go ahead and say strong. Number 7, strong. For you. Okay. Number 8, is a shark cool? Is a shark cool? What do you think? Strong question? Easy question? Thick or thin? I bet you knew the answer. That was a very easy question because it's just yes or no. It's my opinion. I can say yes. Sharks are cool. So that's very easy. And it's also very thin because it's just a yes or no answer. So on number 8, you look at 7 and 8 there. 8, I wrote easy and thin. Okay. We're almost done here. Do you think a shark is better than a whale? Now that's another opinion question, isn't it? It's my opinion whether a shark is better than a whale, or it's your opinion. But could we write a lot about it? Is there lots of different answers? Could we look up facts about it and find out what's cooler about one than the other? Yeah, so there's so much there. That's a nice thick answer. And it's a strong answer because I could look up facts. I could say whales are much better than sharks because whales take care of their babies. And whales breathe air. There's so many things that we can talk about what whales do that sharks don't do, or we could talk about how cool sharks are. So let's go strong and thick. It's a really good question, strong and thick question, because it lets us express our opinion, but we also have to look things up. It's a good one. Okay, good. Let's try our last question is, what is a shark's lifespan in the wild? It's not an easy question, is it? I'd have to look that up and find out the answer. So I'm going to say that's a strong question. Do you think there's a lot of different answers, or probably just 1 or 2 answers? Probably just a small amount of answers, no matter what kind of shark it is. That's kind of a thin question, isn't it? A strong, thin question. It's kind of a right or wrong. I think of thin and thick being like, thin means there's just one right or wrong answer, and thick is when there's lots of answers to the question and we have to look up lots of things. So that's more thick, like a thick sandwich, remember, like I told you. All right, so there's my completed paper. Now hold it up to your computer just like I did and take a picture of it. Attach it to your assignment and submit it. I hope you're getting good at that by now. And I sent your mom and dad some instructions on how to do that. They can also put the app, the Google Classroom app, on their phone. And if they do it on their phone, it might be really easy just to snap a picture and attach it to your assignment. So have a great day, and thanks for doing all your work. Love you guys. Bye-bye.